Hey everybody, welcome to another video. This video is in regards to a funeral of a man who I regard as my father-in-law. My fiance and I brought him and his wife into our home from Chattanooga because we were concerned about his health. He had been diagnosed with liver failure 5 years ago, and 5 years ago the doctors had given him only a year to 2 years to live. But fortunately, he lived a lot longer. But recently, he had been feeling ill, so we took him to the hospital once we brought him up here for him to stay with us. And after he was released from the hospital, we took care of him for about a month before he passed away. Fortunately, Nouphay and I, we were taking care of him, but we had also booked a cruise in April. And we were on the boat about to sail when we got the call on October 1st that my fiance's father had passed away. So when we returned home, we were fortunate to have family and friends who prepared my house, cleared out the living room, cleaned up the backyard, so that way we could have a Buddhist ceremony funeral for my fiance's father. It was a week-long process. We had about 3 days worth of wake at our home, day at the funeral home for his eulogy, and I had to be a monk for a day, so I had to shave my head and participate as one of the pallbearers. That is the Buddhist Laos Buddhist tradition. So I want to thank everybody that helped out with the funeral and came and paid their respect. And here is the eulogy now.
Hello. Everybody, my name is Nouphay I'm the oldest daughter of Compton Dexter. I do his biography of Compton Dexter in English for those that didn't understand what he was saying. So I'm going to paraphrase it and keep it as light as possible so that we can get through this really quick, okay? So again, my name is Nouphay Dexter. I'm the second oldest of his children. Father was born in Thailand, July 14, 1938. At the age of around 3 years old, he moved to Laos with his siblings consisting of 3 sisters and 3 brothers. He was the second oldest of his 6 siblings. His 5 younger siblings still live in Laos today. His education, well, now he went to a Catholic academic school where he graduated around teenager years, like 18 years old, we think. He was educated in French and Laos, where he still can speak some little French and will say some words every once in a while. After graduating as a teenager in Laos, he worked for the Royal Laos government, and later he joined the Laos military, the Royal Laos military, when it's under the monarchy rule. So then, while he was still in the military, he met my mother, Mom. She was a teenager, and they married April 1960s in Paksay, Laos. And then later, while he was still in the military, he worked his way up to the highest rank as a major in the Laos Army. He trained in the Soviet Union and even came to Texas to do some training here in America. And then, as we all know, around 1975, the government of Laos changed and they fell under communism. So from there, he and his young family went to Thailand for his safety. So we were the first refugee family to come to Chattanooga, Tennessee, and that's where we still reside. My father still has his home there in Chattanooga, Tennessee. He didn't go anywhere else. And he came here. His wife, Hung, was 30 years old. old. His son, Seaside, was 6 years old. Myself, I was 4 years old. And my sister was 2 years old, still alive. Well, we came in 1979. Later on, we found out Mary was born in November of 1979. So we say she sneaked her way across the border into America. So, while here in Chattanooga, being the first Laos refugee, he helped many other people settle in Chattanooga. Father loved to garden. He took us every weekend on fishing trips at the Tennessee River, and occasionally he would talk about his military life. They even did a story about his military life before coming to America in the Chattanooga Times. Google it, it's on there. I already did. So, many people still today remember Father as his time in the military here in the local community, the Laos community. Evidently, when he was a captain in Laos, he was very strict and very firm. And there's still some former soldiers of the Royal Lao Army that remember that he made them do guard duty in the pouring rain. That was Father, that was his personality, very strict and firm, but very quiet in personality. When he spoke, everybody listened. But then we found out later he had hearing loss from the Vietnam War, so he spoke loudly but didn't know he was that loud. So that was him. Father never went to the doctor, even in his younger years, until it was an emergency. So Father became ill in January 2018, where his doctors told him, you have about 2 years to live. Well, he lasted 4 years. And then he lived that very happy life, stayed at home, gardened. Nobody knew he was ill until recently. He was hospitalized in Chattanooga August the 27th, where he had a 3-day stay. And then later on September 6th, he was getting weaker, and so we moved him up here to Murfreesboro. And from there, he stayed up here with us. His home, my home, he wanted to be at home. So he passed on October the 1st, around 10:30 a.m. with his family home, in his family home. And that's what he wanted. He wanted everybody to understand that he lived a happy life. He passed away peacefully in his home, the way he wanted, and he, till today, still worries about his family, his grandchildren particularly.